Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. Merry Christmas to you. I am joined by the most beautiful woman in the world, the best looking grandma you've ever seen in your life, and my absolute best friend in all of the world, my best human friend in all of the world. And so grateful for her. And remember, if you have an email question that you'd like us to answer, send me an email, Spartan Nation Mail, MAIL at yahoo.com. Spartan Nation Mail, MAIL at yahoo.com. Put in the subject line, Raiders Q&A. All right. How are you, sweetie?
Great. How are you?
Good. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you and all of you.
And I want to thank all of you. So many of you have sent prayers in for my niece, and you guys have just been wonderful, and we appreciate it and continue to covet your prayers for her. She is no longer comatose, but she definitely is
Still needing prayer.
still needing prayer. So yeah, appreciate if you'd keep all of those in your prayers. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's get going. Hondo, I want to thank you for being consistent.
Oh,
I love your
hang
coverage.
on a second. Is that not kind?
Mhm.
Man, if there's anything you want to be, it's fat, faithful, available, and teachable. And when somebody says you're consistent, that is very kind. Thank you for
Absolutely.
noticing that.
I want to thank you for being consistent. I love your coverage and appreciate how you don't waver and you are a reporter of integrity. What do you think is the number one issue with my Raiders and what's the biggest misconception? Carlita from West Los Angeles.
Carlita. I've never heard that name before. I wonder. It ends in a
ITA, so it's probably like a Hispanic name.
or Italian. I'm trying to remember. Oh, a vowel is A E I O N U, right? Oh, stop. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So it's got it because no. I'm sorry. Vinny Bonsignor is going to yell at me for saying Italian. It's Italian. Scott Tundis always my best friend growing up is Italian. Italian. And I know he was always Italian. He still is Italian. Love you, Scotty. And um, so he always called it Italian. So I call it. And then Vinny Bonsignor heard me one day. He goes, "It's Italian. You don't call it Italy. It's Italy." I'm like, "Sorry." So Vinny, when I'm talking to Scott,
It's
Italian, and when I'm talking to Vinny, it's
it's
Italian.
Italian.
But anyways, because it ends in a vowel, it's probably Hispanic or Italian or Italian, depending on if they both listen. So, but anyways, beautiful name, Carlita. Okay. Oh, it could be Russian too, because they end in a vowel like that. So man, it could be a lot of. That's a pretty name. Okay. So two things. Thank you for your consistency and what this one more time.
I knew you were going to ask me to read it. Um, what do you think is the number one issue with my Raiders, and what is the biggest misconception?
All right. So let's start there. Can we start with misconception?
Sure.
This team has so many advantages that others don't. They're flush with cash. They have the best stadium in the NFL and the best headquarters and a state with zero income tax.
There you go.
And I know a lot of people may say, well, that doesn't matter. Yes, it does.
For sure.
I know a guy who had three free agent offers, and he's within the last 4 years, who happens to be, well, maybe 5 years. But since I've been covering the Raiders, he's a friend of Shannon and I. He's a very good football player. And he had an offer from a team in California, the Raiders, and another team. He rolled out the team in California because he would have paid well over $250,000 more in taxes
Wow.
than Nevada, and went to a state where he paid about 50,000 more in taxes, but he felt had a better chance at winning. So that's why that's a big deal. So all of the intangibles,
Mm.
the Raiders have all the advantages in. So it's finding a true north and finding stability. Imagine if they had that but didn't have I mean, there have been times in the Raiders past they did not have the money, they did not have the facilities, they were in a very bad place, and yet they had true north
Mm-hmm.
with Al Davis, but still struggled because of those things they couldn't control. at least the intangibles are out of the way. So
Right.
once you fix the other, then you're on the fast track to success. So that's the biggest misconception, is that the entire thing is a disaster. A lot of it is. What is that smell? It smells like gingerbread or something.
Is it my movie?
Oh, jeez.
It has cinnamon in it.
Oh, I hate the smell of that.
You want to kiss me?
No. I'm like, what is that smell?
Cinnamon.
Yeet. So that is the biggest misconception. Listen, this franchise is in trouble. It's in bad shape. It is dysfunctional. But at least all of the things of those things are handled. So once they get the other fixed, they're on the fast track to success. The biggest problem is there's no stability both in direction, purpose, and personnel. Those are things that are easy to fix.
Right.
Having the stadium, the cash, the facilities, those are hard. You've taken care of the hard things. Now go fix the easy things.
Exactly.
Good answer, Carlita.
Good question.
I mean,
You gave a good answer.
Good question, Carlita.
Oh my. All right. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hondo, good day and Merry Christmas.
Merry
I've
Christmas to you.
listened to you discuss the Raiders' offensive lines for a number of years. My question is, in regards to the difference between their play all season and then in the game against the Texans, what changed to see such dramatic offensive opportunity? Colin in Bluffton, South Carolina.
So, Colin, this is a great question. I'm very glad you asked it, and I'm going to credit you. I don't look at the questions beforehand, so I was really hoping during the game Raider Nation was noticing this, and I talked about it in my post-game podcast. When you go the entire offseason, people do not realize how much practice goes in prior to the start of the season, and then how little practices during the season. So you may remember when they fired Chip, I said to you, it is very hard to turn the ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard. I mentioned in the Eagles game where they got blown out, they did several things differently. And you weren't going to tell because they got shut out. But they were starting it. And now you saw those guys, and that's a better defense in Houston. That is Brennan Carroll. Chip Kelly was removed. Brennan started teaching some things. There's also some Greg Olsen in there. But yeah, that is what you should have been seeing all along. And again, some of it was stuff that they worked on in preseason. And I've been telling you, why are we not seeing this? Great observation by you.
All right. Hondo, as you know, I am a college coach. Oh, I remember him.
You do?
Yeah, we withheld his name because he was a college coach.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you don't use his name if they did.
Albeit Division II, but still.
Oh, no, this wouldn't be that guy.
It wasn't the same guy.
No, that guy was a big-time coach.
Oh.
I mean, I don't mean big-time like this gentleman's not, but this is a Division II coach. That guy was one most of these people would know.
Brennan Carroll is a great coach, and I don't understand why people don't recognize all of the guys he has developed and put in the NFL. Any clue why Raider Nation, who you talk about being so smart, does not get it? I was thrilled that my Raiders got him. Initials CB. That's all we got.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know who it is, but okay. Well, Coach, thanks for emailing. You're absolutely right. I've talked about it on here. Brennan Carroll has multiple guys he developed and put into the NFL. So he has a proven track record. And he's good. I mean, I'm just telling you, the guy would. I had coaches who I'm friends with that were looking for offensive line coaches this year that called me and said, hey, what do you think's going to happen with Pete? I've got to fill this position, and I'd love to hire Brennan Carroll. And I'm like, I think he's clearly on the hot seat, but Mark Davis could save his job. So there isn't one. So yeah, I agree with you. Brennan Carroll has a great track record of success till he got to the Raiders. And I would remind a lot of you, There have been lots of coaches that had great track records of success till they got to the Raiders and then left and had great track records of success afterwards. It's a common denominator, Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah.
But look at this week. I'm so glad. So that was the best defense in the NFL. And that offensive line looked completely different. It was stuff that Brennan worked on in the. I mean, I remember I put a video up of a drill that the team did in preseason. It was, I think it was in OTA or mini camp, whatever. And then once the season got started, the things they were working on in that drill, they never worked on. And I remember asking someone, I'm not going to say who, why are we not seeing this? And the person looked at me and said, you know what you always say on your podcast? Everybody has a boss. So does Brennan. And no, it wasn't Pete. It was somebody in the organization. So yeah, you started to see that. And I mean, 2 in a row, that's pretty good. I would love to be able to do a full podcast just talking offensive and defensive line.
I bet that would be so good.
Oh my gosh, it would be like heaven from a football perspective. Nothing like heaven, but from a football perspective. All right, let's go.
Wow. How about if you do that the next time I'm at work?
That is so unfair. So many of our friends are offensive line athletes, former athletes, coaches, whatever, and they're all going to hear you.
I can't help it. I love you all as people.
I know, but one guy in particular is going to be very ticked at you, and you know you're who I'm talking about. Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. That may cost you a Christmas present.
Okay. That's an easy fix. I know. A pet peeve of mine, and I'm not talking about me. This is what this person wrote, just so you know.
Oh, that must mean I did something stupid.
Are the defensive backs.
Or it's your mom.
Oh, that's always. A pet peeve of mine are the defensive backs, the usual culprits, that make the effort to sorry, there's a misspell. To throw a shoulder to make a hit, but cannot seem to wrap up at the same time.
Yeah.
It was on full display Sunday with the Lonnie Johnson hit that resulted in a bunch of extra yards.
Yep, a lot.
The question is this. Are the coaches teaching them to just go for the ball? Or is it more just a time on task thing in practice?
Mike, first of all, this is a brilliant question. This is why I love answering questions from Raider Nation, because they get it. So it's a pet peeve of mine, and it's a pet peeve of coaches big time. But here's the problem. The new collective bargaining rules, there is very little physical contact and almost none during the season. And so it goes back to youth football, where everyone's so afraid of concussions and they live in fear over everything. We can't practice. We can't be physical. We can't. Well, tackling is something you either do or don't do. And you're seeing it a lot in high school and little kid ranks going all the way up to college because it's so limited and because they're so afraid of losing people that the art of tackling is gone.
Lost.
It's gone. And I mean, it's like you heard me earlier in the year when the Raiders had a game where the tackling was terrible. And I mean, I asked Pete, it was right after the bye. And it was terrible. But there's just not a lot you can do because of collective bargaining. Some teams are much better at it because they take more risks in the preseason. But even then, you're limited of how physical you can be. And then you're a team paying a guy $10, $12 million a year. Oh, he got injured in practice and he can't play. So it's not just in the NFL. You're seeing it at all levels. It's a crisis in the game right now. So you nailed it. And I know this. I was talking to someone who works at the NFL this week. And we were talking about, actually a team executive. And we were talking, and we were talking about the CBA that comes up in 29, collective bargaining agreement. And I mentioned to him, I have never seen a time where the players aren't mad at ownership. Ownership's not mad at the players, but the players are ticked with the NFLPA over the current CBA. They're mad. And I really think it's shaping up to be a war in 29. And I know that the NFL would like to get some juju back, some juice to make a little bit more. I mean, it's hurting the game right now.
Right. That makes
But
sense.
but you got to remember something. It's hurting the game because when there wasn't rules, the NFL went to the extreme. I'll give you an example. Right now in college football, a lot of people are saying NIL is killing the game. Well, it's because the NCAA and the teams were so cheap for so long and mistreated the players.
Mm.
So if you don't like the game of college football right now, I don't blame you, but blame the adults, not the kids.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so blame the NFL. I mean, there used to be 3 practices in a day and they would physically beat each other up, and training camp was 2 months. It was ridiculously stupid.
Mm.
And now it's gone to the other extreme. But that is a great point. And I was asked when I was a boy, I'll never forget this. Bo Schembechler told me this, the famous coach at Michigan. We were at an event with him and Paul and Ernie Harwell, the voice of the Tigers, probably him, and of course the gentleman who did the LA Dodgers were the 2 greatest voices, and I guess probably Harry Carey as well with the Chicago Cubs. Those were like the 3 great voices of baseball. But Bo Schembechler and Ernie Harwell, my dad and I, we were having dinner. And I think it was the waiter asked our table, if you could tell your kid to play any sport, what would it be? And Bo Schembechler said, a left-handed pitcher. They don't get hit, and left-handed pitcher. Well, I would tell you now, and I mean, and Bo's a football coach, but I'm telling you right now, you want it, you want your kid to be something, be a sure tackler. Be a sure tackler. Be somebody who just plays football. So let me just take a moment here. The game of football is a testosterone fueled game of force, friction, fight, and effervescent commitment to being a pursuer of the oblong de ellipsoid. And so what happens is this game is meant to be played with reckless abandon. Each play is meant to be a car wreck of violence. And so if you want to turn it into underwater basket weaving or flag football, you're destroying the game. It's meant to be played violently. It is a violent game. I'm all for protecting players, but they're going to an extreme. They're going to hurt the game. And I'm going to tell you something else too. I'm going to tell you now, I've talked to some folk. And what?
I've talked to some folk. I have to laugh because you always say you can take a girl out of COVID, but you can't take COVID out of the girl. So I move away from my hometown and I still talk like that. Just like that.
And what?
I talked to some folk.
I don't understand what's funny about that.
Keep
no, tell me. I'm serious. I don't care what.
It's just funny to listen to you. We talked to some folk.
Well, how else would you say?
Talk to some people, or I talked to some folks. I'm just laughing at you.
Are you implying I'm country?
Yes. That's a compliment.
Okay. Well, anyways, I've talked to some folk, players, who think the game is hurting. And I think the players would be willing to change a couple of these rules. Now they're going to want, this goes back to the CBA. This next CBA now, it's not like you're going into a CBA with one issue. I've seen times in my career, you go into the CBA negotiations and you've got one big issue. There's like 6 or 7 big ones. Big ones. big ones. That's a great, man. I'll tell you, that's what I love about Raider Nation. Y'all ask the best question. Let's go.
There you have it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Hondo, I really like your opinions and your news. I know you say you would keep Pete. I'm okay with keeping him for continuity. For
Continuity? Is that what they meant to say?
Probably. That's okay.
I just love it because people get mad at you. We don't read the questions in advance. I'm going to tell you guys a great story. One of the first times Shannon did this, somebody misspelled the player name, and then somebody, oh, she's not a real fan. She's not a real fan. You know, like somebody, you know, sitting in their mom's basement.
I'm trying to be impromptu, and I'm like, I read stuff like it's spelled, and I can't help it.
All right, so finish.
It's continuity there. Okay, I'm okay with keeping him for continuity, but I think he has to realize that it is a rebuild. He has started.
Wait, he's already realized that.
He has started using some rookies in places, but continues playing Geno, which is not helping the Raiders. Let's give others a chance to see what they can do. His stubbornness on keeping Geno as a starter is where I don't care whether they keep Pete or not. Thanks, Kenny from Kentucky.
All right, Kenny, I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm not discrediting your opinion. Okay? He played Kenny, and the offense was worse. Aiden's been injured. Okay? Aiden was injured. He's healthy now, but Aiden's been injured. I agree with you. There have been times when Geno was not playing well, but they're not losing right now because of Geno. And quite frankly, I thought Geno played pretty well Sunday. Mm-hmm. Now, you say, well, he had a pick six. Yep, he did. He did. And without that pick six, they would have won. So, I mean, I'm not pretending like Geno was great. Not anyway pretending. But at this point, if they're losing, and you want to keep going after the number one pick, just do what you're doing.
There you go. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Hondo, I have 2 comments for your evaluation and 1 question for your beloved wife. Oh, wow.
And Shannon gets a question.
There you go. Number 1, trade your pick to top bidder preference out of conference.
All right, so let's address that one. This is what I would say. And I will have the same answer every year. I will be consistent. If you do not have a player worthy of where you're picking, always trade. Or if somebody's willing to pay you more than whoever you can get there. So, like, for example, when the Raiders had Brock Bowers as a dude. So remember in the NFL draft, in the NFL, there's a term, dude, which means can't miss prospect. Okay? And so I think the Raiders were at 13 when they picked Brock. So they had him as the second best player in the draft. There were 3 dudes, Joe Alt, Talise Fuaga, and Brock Bowers. Those are the 3 dudes in that draft. Okay? So they're sitting there at 13, and the Rams and other teams are calling because they want Brock Bowers. Tom Telesco's like, well, you're going to have to pay me more than the number 1 overall pick because we think the guy we can get is a can't miss prospect. Mm-hmm. He's a dude at 13. So thank God Telesco held to his guns. But my answer is always going to be the same. And then if you think that guy is a dude, you pay whatever you got to pay to go up. You pay whatever you got to pay. Hey, we think this is a guy. If I thought that, and I don't know this yet, nobody knows this yet. There is a lot of evaluation. Although I'm going to tell you, every time Fernando Mendoza plays, he was playing the other night. My phone was blowing up. I was texting with NFL people. They just, some things I'm getting on Fernando, they really, really like him. And there's things they like about Dante. Still concerned. But anyways, if you can get a haul, This is like the fourth or fifth time I've mentioned this. Remember when the Bears weren't sold that there was one guy that they could go get? They felt like they had a bunch of holes. So they traded their pick to Carolina and picked up a ton of draft picks. That's where they got Caleb and have rebuilt the team. And if you're in that position, and the Raiders are more than a quarterback away. So, yeah, I'd be wide open. Let's go. Who wants it? Put it up for bid. Let's go. Let's go. And but that's a great observation. But if you're convinced, and I don't care who the player is, so let's just make it up. If you think Ty Simpson of Alabama, and I don't think he's worth the top 10 pick at all. In fact, everybody I talk to still doesn't think, they all believe he would go in the first round. A lot of them say he could be the number one overall if he goes back and fixes on some things. But none of them have him with a grade in the top 20. But if I'm sitting there and I am convinced he is a franchise Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady guy, I'll go pick him number one overall. Care what anybody thinks. What only matters is what I think. What I think. Y'all know this girl's out of my league. I'm just glad she don't. And so that's a great point. Okay, go on. What's the second one?
I am intentionally not going to use the word trade here, but let Max go. If you respect him, he will return to retire as a Raider. HOF. 3 number ones opening line out of conference. We blindly sabotaged Carr. Too many offensive coordinators.
Okay, sabotage to me is a term that implies implicit intent. I don't think the Raiders sabotaged Derek. I certainly don't think they helped him. I would tell you, I think Derek Carr was a much better quarterback than even what his career would reveal. I think there's a lot of things that Derek did for this franchise that nobody gives him credit for. On top of it, I do have an affinity for Derek, but I don't think it was sabotage. I think it was just a dysfunctional organization. Sabotage implies implicit intent. Now, I know there were people that did not like Derek in the organization at high levels, but I don't think it was sabotage, number one. Number two, I think one for sure, probably two, and maybe 3 teams that would give you 3 for Max. And remember, those are only teams that are one player away from a Super Bowl or are in a position with a bunch of young players that not having 3 years of number 1 picks allows them to put that rookie pool money in their salary cap to pay other guys. And that's a big deal. So, I went the first time I said that, some Raider fans went off. I mean, a hot take, Harry. And I'm not saying that's just what I call people who want to have the hot takes. I always laugh at people that aren't in the arena and want to have the hot takes. Yeah, okay. I hope you feel good about yourself. I always laugh. No, you got to do this. No, you need to go to college and work your way up and get to SI, which takes a while, and then you can be in the position. I don't. But anyways, I always laugh. It literally entertains us. But I had NFL people screenshotting that. You remember the one that called me and he was cracking up. He's like, are these people this ignorant, really? Anyways, but it's not everybody. Not everybody at all. But I think all the other teams would give two number ones. That being said, if I'm the Raiders, no. You can't keep letting your best players go. And this is a generational talent. He is a unicorn Hall of Fame player. The only way I'm letting Max go is if Max comes and just says, listen. Mm-hmm. And I understand why fans think this way. I know fans. I mean, I've had fans. Shannon and I were in the airport one time recently. Whenever we went on our last trip, where did we go?
The last time I was with you that we flew anywhere was Cabo.
or maybe it was Cabo, but we were in the airport, and a guy came up and remember he had the Crosby jersey on, and he asked to take a picture, and he said to me, I don't ever want to lose Max. He's my favorite Raider, but I love him so much. I want us to trade him. I want him to be able to get a Super Bowl and not be part of this. So I understand why fans are, they love Max. And it's not a sign of disrespect. It's a sign of respect. But if I'm the Raiders, no. I mean, you don't let your unicorns go. But if Max comes and says, listen, then I
It's
do.
a different.
Right. Go on. I was just checking to see if Uncle Nick was here. Keep
Oh.
going.
A question for your beloved wife. This may
By the
be
way, I don't have an Uncle Nick. That's just someone we
somebody
call
call
Uncle.
Uncle Nick.
Go ahead.
This may be too personal, but here it is
But this is your question?
from him, same guy. In all your nursing services, have you ever seen anything that proves to you of the afterlife? Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. G. Cavello. Yes, and I can give you two quick examples. The first one, I had a patient who was dying, and about every 5 minutes, she would scream and grab the air and yell, "No, no!" And then go, because when you are dying, you go into a really deep sleep. That's your body shutting down. And she would not ever wake up, but she would start grasping at the air and scream, "No, no." And you've got the opposite, where I had a woman who did not sleep for 36 hours. And it was my first day by myself on the job. I'd finished my training, I was on the job, and she hadn't slept in 36 hours. And I got it in report. She won't sleep. She's scared of dying. So I went in there and I talked to her. And at that time, she couldn't talk. She was responding by squeezing hands and blinking eyes. And I asked her if she was scared, and yes, was squeezing my hand. So she squeezed my hand that she was. So I asked her if she had a relationship with Jesus, if she knew Jesus and was going to go to heaven when she died. And she blinked her eyes, which meant no. So I explained it to her and we prayed together. And she repeated after me in her mind. And I asked her if she had. She squeezed my hand, which was a yes, with tears coming out of her eyes. Within 2 hours, she was sound asleep and she never woke back up. And it was very, very peaceful. So, yeah, I 110% believe that there is an afterlife. And if that doesn't prove it, I don't know what else does, other than God's word, because that's what we
His
believe.
word is
We are
his
solid.
regardless of proofs
Exactly.
that his word proves it.
Exactly.
Because that's ultimate true north in our life.
But from a nursing standpoint, there you go.
Great question. All right,
Thank
let's
you.
keep going.
Hi, Hondo. Thank you for your work. I have a question regarding Pete Carroll. If Pete is best when he is in total control of everything, why would he then accept that he cannot hire his own coordinators?
Great question.
And not be the final decider on players coming in through the draft and free agency? Given Pete's experience, should we as Raider fans not expect that Pete has a clear idea of what he is accepting and what conditions he is accepting the role of head coach based on? Kind regards, Soren.
Soren, that's a great question. And I'm going to say something here that you're probably not going to like the answer to, but I don't read these questions in advance. There have been some things that I've told you I would report if Pete is let go.
Right.
Okay. That is a fair question that absolutely deserves to be discussed. Okay. So if the Raiders decide to move on from Pete, please email me again and I'll be glad to answer this. Make sure you put in there that you're the one. If he is not let go, then whenever he is, come back and ask me, and I'll be glad to tell you the answer. I just don't think that a beat writer's job is to write on the beat. There are some things you learn you cannot report at certain times.
For sure.
Okay, so for example, remember I put the tweet out before a preseason game. Tonight is going to impact the Raiders' future. Please bookmark this tweet. In fact, another reporter took a shot at me because they thought it had something to do with Aiden O'Connell. It had nothing to do with Aiden. in I'm in the arena. Um, okay. And but I had no desire at that point to hurt the Raiders.
Right.
Okay. Any good reporter is going to report truth. And if I felt other people had the information that I have, which I know they don't, um, then I would report it. But I have it and I will report it. But there's no sense doing damage right now.
Oh, for sure.
I have no
Yeah,
reason.
just
And when I reported the Devontae stuff, there was no damage.
hmm
But it was still so if Pete goes, I'm going to do it very detailed. And I think that is a fair question. I think it is a truthful question. And I think it's one that you deserve an answer to.
Right.
And I will give it to you
It's not today.
in due time.
All right. Good afternoon, Hendo. I wanted to reach out because I recall you saying that the Raiders do have some interest in Dante Moore with a good chance that he returns back to school. Do you think the Raiders believe in Mendoza to be their quarterback of the future, or do you think they're so intrigued by Moore they might wait another year to get him in the 2027 draft? Thanks and prayers for your family, Anthony D.
Okay, a couple of things, Anthony. Great question. First of all, they do have a lot of interest in Dante. That's factual. And I've been telling you since before the season started, before anyone knew who Mendoza was, that they like Mendoza. Um, and again, if they think Mendoza's the guy, go get him. I don't care.
Right.
I still am telling you there are a lot of people that think Dante's going to go back to Oregon, that think he has a shot at being the number one overall next year. A great player. There are a lot of people that think, man, if he's going to go in the top 5 or 10 right now, why would you go back? That may be fair, unless he thinks I'm going to go get a ton of money at Oregon and a chance to get better. Either way, I don't think the Raiders are married to anyone right now. I'm trying to be careful what I say here. I think they are looking at everybody, and the season isn't over. Interviews haven't happened. Private workouts haven't happened. Tap the brakes. And but everybody I talk to finds it very. They all think at least 3 quarterbacks are going in the first round. They all tell me they think Mendoza is the most surefire guy. They all think Mendoza has the least amount of risk. There still is risk, least amount. They think he is NFL ready. He runs an off NFL system. He can make every throw, whatever. Couple of issues, dips his hips and struggles with heat a little bit. I mean, dips his eyes, not hips, eyes. Dips his eyes and struggles with heat. Dante is nowhere near as polished as Mendoza. So there's a lot more risk, but there's more upside. So then you're gambling, you're already gambling in a first round quarterback. So, and then Simpson, there's a lot of potential there. Man, he's got a chance to be really good, but he needs more time in college. But they all think he would go because there are enough desperate teams. Now, I had one GM say to me, if depending on how the draft board falls out, because his team does not need a quarterback, they're probably 2 or 3 years away from a quarterback, and they're going to be in the playoffs. And he said to me, if Simpson were there, he goes, depending on how the draft board fell out, he goes, I can't imagine the draft board not falling like it has the last several years where so many good players dropped that far. He goes, but if everyone all of a sudden learned how to draft and there wasn't somebody worthy, he goes, we would definitely have a conversation about Simpson and putting him on our bench and develop him. He goes, if we did not have to play him, maybe. So anyways, there you go. That's the thought process.
All right. Hondo, I loved when you had an article about the Raiders dodging a bullet on Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
I also loved when
I got ripped on Twitter about that.
Yeah, it's what he just said.
Oh.
Someone tried posting you up on Twitter about it. You're correct, sir. You are in the arena. What do you think about Ben now, Bradley G?
Well, I'm going to say a couple things to you. If you remember, I absolutely did tell you that an executive said that. So I laugh when somebody, tries to be tough guy. Oh, this didn't age well. I think it aged great.
Right.
It was an executive's opinion. Everybody I know who knows Ben loves him. And I've said that. You and I have personal friends that told us who are friends with Ben. Remember at dinner? Oh, he's a really good dude. But personality wise, I just think he may be a Josh McDaniels type head coach. Okay. And what I would say to you is, do you remember there were people that told me how much they loved Jaden Daniels, but they felt like the way he played and his body type, he was just going to get injured. And look what happened this year. So what I would say is, after 5 years, we'll judge Ben. He certainly looks really good this year. And I hope he's great. Everybody I know who knows him loves the guy, says he's a great guy. But guess what? Everybody I know who knows Josh McDaniels as a coordinator loved him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy as well.
Right.
And so what I would say is you tap the brakes. He certainly looks fantastic. He certainly needs to be in the voting. For me, coach of the year has to go to Mike Vrabel. And then I think you can debate whether it's Sean Payton or Ben Johnson. Either one of those would be fine with me. I could make an argument for both. I would probably vote Ben ahead of Sean, probably, but I'm not sure. We got 2 more games left. But what I would just say to you is I don't mind being accountable for what I report. Don't mind at all. And you're right. That's what do I think? I think he's been great. I hope he's great. I would have liked to have covered him here because we have a lot of mutual friends and because he's a great guy.
Right.
So there you go.
Hondo, you used to say we could have Hondo in a hoodie if we won a playoff game. Can we get Hondo in a hoodie if we get first pick? Carl from Baltimore.
Okay, so let's remember everybody what this was. Is I'm not a fan. Like now I'm wearing a Michigan State thing. And Raiders would be like, you need to do it. No, I'm not a fan. And so I don't remember what it was, but I said if they did something, I would wear a hoodie, and they did it. So I wore a hoodie, a Raider hoodie. And I said, the next time I wear a Raider Hondo and a hoodie is they got to go to a playoff game. I don't know. What do you think, Raider Nation? If they get the number 1 pick overall and lose these last 2 games, should I wear Hondo in a hoodie? I'm not a fan, but you let me know. All right. Was that our non-football question?
No, next is the non-football.
Our next question happens to be a non-football question. So if you don't want to listen to non-football questions, you're not allowed to bitch, moan, complain, or in any way be a jackass and gossip and murmur and complain because we warned you in advance. This next question is a non-football question. So if you don't want to listen to that, please leave now. If you do, hang on and listen. Thank you and God bless you. Next.
Hondo and Shannon, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you for both being so warm and kind about the death of your daughter. My wife and I went through this. We are Christ followers, and she was as well, and had never heard it discussed or even put into the terms the way that you did. We found our stocking and put it up this year. It truly feels like God filled our void and our joy for this season, and even life has returned. We have no words, but thank you. C and Gina R in North Carolina. It's very kind.
Remember, you said it best. She's a Christ follower.
Mm-hmm.
She's not lost. You know right where she is. Oof.
And she's alive.
Isn't that powerful?
Mm-hmm.
Man, thank you so much. Thank you for that. And we'll be praying for you and your family. All right? Merry Christmas to all of you. We want you to know that every single day in the Carpenter family, we pray for you. Shannon and sometimes Dexter, sometimes he's off playing dinosaurs, but sometimes he's sleeping. But every day we pray for you guys and your families and your lives. You don't have to watch this podcast or read what we do. You choose to, and we don't take that for granted. So thank you for sharing part of your life with us. And you need to know we consider each of you, even the haters, a gift from God. and we pray for you. And so this Christmas season, we count you among our gifts. God bless each of you.